Hey guys, on today's episode, we're working on this 2008 Honda CBR600RR Formula Extreme Superbike. Now, what makes this extra special is in 2008, this won 9 of its 14 races, and both the engine builder and the rider have autographs on the bike. So when we clean, polish, and protect it, we're gonna need to be extra careful. Plus, when we're done, we're gonna store this in a very unique place. That and a whole lot more on this episode of Ride and Protect.
The rules allowed you to make it the strongest, fastest, nastiest 600cc bike that was available. Basically a super bike in terms, all right? It's got titanium rods, it's got a full HRC head. HRC is Honda Racing Corp. Öhlins gas charged front fork with a titanium nitrated body. The front end is also a quick release. So at Daytona, when they came into the pits, yeah, correct. When they came into the pits, you would just yank this right out, okay, and drop it out, and the wheel falls out, and the brakes stay solid. There's a hole on this side. You're gonna see it down there, and that's where, see that hole on the bottom? And that's where, when you came into the pits, you would put the jack into that. Correct, yeah, and it would lift the whole bike off the ground, front and rear. So you could do a quick change front and rear tire. And this is for Daytona. This is a Daytona special quick change. Again, we're talking about a 600cc superbike motor that dynos at 16,200 RPMs. It makes 161 horsepower.
That thing was screaming.
Screaming.
Step one was to move the bike onto the car lift, and luckily this one actually fit no problem, although the turning radius on race bikes is non-existent. The previous Harley Davidson restoration I didn't fit so well, so I had to work on the ground, which is not as fun on your knees. If you're a bike fan and haven't seen that episode, it's a good one. Check it out. I'll put a link above and also another one in the description to check it out after this episode. With the bike now on the lift, I plugged the exhaust with a blue towel and some tape. On the autographs, I rolled up a red microfiber towel and then taped them down over the autographs just in case any cleaners splash on them during the wash process. Likewise, it's not a good idea to put tape over the Sharpie autograph either, as sometimes the tape will actually pull the signature if it's left on for too long. First, I sprayed Titan 12 degreaser on the lower portions of the bike to help release the oils from its last ride. Next, I filled the aerator with frothy hoseless lift and wash. Now, this is an extremely popular and safe way to remove dirt from your vehicle, or in this case a bike, without the use of free-flowing water from a hose. For people who live in, let's say, apartments or drought situations, California is a big one. Traveling from home, you can stick it in your trunk. Winter without a hose, for us in the Northeast, I have to put my hose away in the wintertime for obvious reasons, it's gonna freeze. Or in this case, if you wanna be extra careful on a very rare bike that has autographs on it, etc., this is a good time to use it. For a full step-by-step tutorial on how to use Frothy, and more importantly, what inspired me to invent this type of lubrication many years ago, check out my first video of Frothy on my Audi R8 in 2018. I was cleaning it in my garage with no hose, and then later on I did another episode of me outside on a 20-degree day. It's a really good one. I'll put a link above, but it's the way that you can clean and lift and encapsulate that dirt on a car when you don't have access to a hose. When applying frothy lubrication, you have a few options to disperse it onto the area that's going to be cleaned. First one is using a handheld smaller pump we call an aerator. Now that takes 6 capfuls of frothy to 40 ounces of tap water. The smaller aerator is really great for motorcycles or full cars. You just have to keep in mind that you will have to pump it by hand as it loses pressure as you walk around the vehicle or the bike, but it's a really great tool, especially because you can throw it in your trunk as you're traveling. For the pro user, there are larger units called the Pro Foamer. Now this one, you'll need a full bottle of frothy instead of the 6 capfuls. You're gonna put a full bottle of frothy into 2.5 gallons of water into the reservoir right here. Now you'll be all set up for about 20 to 22 washes with this setup at an estimate cost of about $1.60, maybe $1.75 per wash, meaning $1.75 to wash your car without a hose. It's absolutely amazing. Now, there are a few differences between the aerator and the Pro Foamer, aside from the fact that it holds more frothy and molded water. In this case, you can plug it into compressed air to fill the tank without pumping it. Likewise, you can also pump the Pro Foamer if you don't have compressed air. So it lasts a whole lot longer and you have a lot more product as well. With the bike now soaking in frothy, most of the heavy lifting is being done as it encapsulates the dirt, it drips off and then begins to evaporate on its own. Keep in mind that you do want to wipe it with a microfiber towel before it evaporates. For the wheels, I'm using something I've worked on for a very long time. It's a custom-made wheel woolly, the wheel woolly we all love, that actually hooks up to the aerator and allows frothy to flow through the woolly itself and then comes out of the fibers at the end. This way you're always agitating with clean, fresh frothy. So here's the thought process behind the flow-through brush. Because we don't have a hose and because we don't have a bucket filled with soap and lots of water in it, when you take the wheel woolly out, normally you dunk it in there, you get all the dirt off, and then you go back in to minimize scratching. We don't have that option here. So the wheel woolly, we needed to put a hole through it so we could squeeze fresh cleaner out. And as the dirt accumulates on the fibers of the wheel woolly, we push all that dirt out, it drips off, and then you're good to go. So that was the thought process. Like, hey, how do we clean this? How do we do this without scratching our wheels when we don't have access to that hose that's going to wash it away naturally? This is how you do it. For the tight spots on the wheels, I'm using a 2-tier wheel brush, but instead of Brute and soap, etc., because we don't have it, I'm using Frothy on the end of the bristles. I want to be crystal clear about something. If you do have access to water or a hose or a power washer, you should use it. That is the safest, most lubricated way, along with soaps, etc., to wash whatever it is you're trying to wash. But when you don't have it, this is a great alternative. Another thing you can do, what we call a half step, is to fill a bucket up with some warm water, put 2 or 3 squirts of frothy in there, maybe 3 or 4 towels, make sure that they get nice and soaked and filled with all of that frothy lubrication, wring them out, then you can go in and gently wipe the body down that already has frothy on it. That's just going to add more lubrication and help carry all that junk away because of the extra water. Next, you're going to wipe the frothy that has already encapsulated the dirt, much like we did on the 1910 and 1911 steam cars, the Audi R8 that we put in that link before, and of course the Datsun 280Z. That was a big episode. Now the goal here is you're going to slightly roll the towel as you pick up the dirt without scratching or basically grinding it like sandpaper would be into the paint surface. So that slight roll is really key as you're picking frothy up. Afterwards, you can use compressed air to help frothy evaporate faster, or just leave it for 4 or 5 minutes. It'll dissipate on its own. In this case, I'm using a Master Blaster designed for bikes. I'll put a link in the description below. Now the bike is clean and dry, I'm using spit spray wax as lubrication for a quick claying of the paint, because this was never thoroughly washed or detailed in its life, which is sort of normal on race bikes and race cars. So take your time here, do a quick clay job, and it's going to be much easier to polish later on. To rejuvenate the paint, I'm using a pneumatic 3-inch polisher with a 3-inch wool pad and polishing fluid.
That really came out.
As you can see right here on the tank, the paint is really trashed from what I can only imagine is aggressively laying and I guess holding on at 150 miles an hour plus. So we have a little bit of work to do here. Pete asked if I could remove one of the track day stickers he put on the nose. To do that, I use wrapper remover and a plastic razor blade to get it off without scratching the very thin paint. When I was polishing around the autographs, I used a very special straight cut pad that is very precise and does not extend over like a tapered edge might. So to avoid hitting or just removing any of the signature, straight cut is the way to go. After using the straight cut wool pad, I repeated the same steps with a foam pad and the same polish just to bring out the last 10% of depth and shine. For the super tight spots, I'm using a 1-inch machine or my fingers where the 3-inch could not fit easily. It is a little bit painstaking, but when you're done, it's gonna look great. For the very last step, I used blush finishing wax on the purposely thin race bike. Obviously, they want to have less paint on there, so it's lighter, it's faster, etc. But when I was done, it looked dripping wet. I was super excited about this one. Now, also keep in mind, knowing that this bike is now completely retired, it's just going into storage, I added blush to a few extra parts to protect them from just sitting around doing nothing in a garage or whatever, where I normally might not do that on a bike that's gonna hit the street, etc. So same thing on the chain. Normally I'd have Pete bring over his preferred lubricant, etc. for each specific bike chain, but since he has several sponsors, one of which is a chain manufacturer, he told me he just replaces them after every few track days. But in this case, it's just gonna sit for a while. So we put a little bit of lubricant on it, but that's about it. Check out all the years of helmets and racing suits he has all over the wall of his home garage in that 190 SL video we just restored for his 94-year-old dad. I'll put the link above if you haven't seen it. It's a really good find and reveal. Hey!
Yo, man, what's up?
Good to see you.
You like my cop knock?
I like that.
Cop knock?
Scared me a little bit.
Whoa, look at that thing.
Awesome,
Sick.
right?
Yeah, man, that's really cool. You don't see race bikes in this condition, you know? I mean, the paint is, this is like show quality paint on here, and you really brought it up. It's awesome.
You could tell
Wicked clean.
This guy was like all over this.
Yeah, of
all
course,
this
man.
was
You hang
scratchy.
over the top and he's like a monkey, you know what I mean? And he was a little dude, man. So, like he really, yeah, he's probably like 5'2" and 120 pounds, you know? I'm like, and I'm small and I'm big on this bike, on the 600, yeah. Yeah, we couldn't even fold you into this thing. It'd be impossible. Your knees would be up here by the top. But
yeah,
wow, it looks great, man.
Yeah. The plastic came out great.
Yeah. The biggest thing too is a lot of these, like the wheels get really chunked up because we change them so often. Like you're at Daytona or any of the places, if you're changing tires quick, they get really, really messed up. You know, the rims, but these look pretty good, man. They came out great.
Yeah, I hand polished most of them. This area I could get with a 1-inch, but yeah, hand polished. Same thing on the front here. These look fantastic.
Right.
This is like so beautiful.
Yeah, those Oleans in the front are like jewelry too, aren't they?
Speaking of that, what are you doing with this? You're gonna put it in your 150 bike collection?
You know, it looks so good here, man. Why don't we, I have a couple in my office. Why don't I put one in your office, man? Let's
Black and red?
Yeah,
I mean,
why don't we put it up top? We can put it up there in the hallway. It'll look really good in front of your mural.
Yeah, but the question is, how the heck are we gonna get it up there?
Well, of course, we're just gonna throw it up there and I'll catch it. Okay, now.
Yeah, the turning radius on this.
No, yeah, and that's a key on these bikes. The turning radiuses are really bad. If you notice, the locks are only like that, right?
Yeah,
Hardly anything.
I was trying to move it from over there.
I got it. Relax. Get off my bike, man. Get your hands off.
Look at you putting fingerprints
you
on
can
it.
go back and take your diapers, man, and get it all cleaned up nice and neat. All right, this is going to be the hardest part right here.
All right, so tell me what you want me to do.
Well, look, you're going to go right on that side.
Okay.
I'm going to go on this side. No, right there. Right there.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Stand right there. Ready? Pick up.
I'll move it.
Okay. Okay. And now we're going to go up that stair. That one stair. Ready?
Yep. Break.
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Beautiful.
All right, so we're just doing it like
Yeah,
this.
one break. Yep, one at a time.
Break. There we go.
Okay. Going down.
That was easy.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. We're all good.
Holy.
Where's it going? Right there?
Floor.
It's going right there?
Good, go.
Yeah, come on back.
And there.
Good.
All right.
Boom. See, I told you it was easy.
Yeah. That thing looks
Holy
sick. That's a nice office piece, dude.
Good man, thank you. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you found this entertaining or helpful, please consider subscribing or visit AMMONYC.com for more information. Most of all, support your local detailer in your neck of the woods. They're great guys. They're hard workers. Let's keep them in business for a long time. See you guys next time.